DK Metcalf gets more money, a lot more money. The Seahawks wide receiver gets a 3-year extension for $72 million. $30 million is in a signing bonus. That's the largest signing bonus for any wide receiver in NFL history. Metcalf had been at camp but not participating while negotiating a new arrangement, but now he can suit up knowing he's very well taken care of. Now, keep in mind, last year Metcalf only caught 75 passes for less than 1,000 yards, despite playing in every game. He did, though, put up 12 touchdowns, and some of those games were without Russell Wilson. All of them will be without Russell Wilson this season. All right, let's bring in our guy, Tyler Sullivan, NFL writer, CBSSports.com. You see 3 years, you see $72 million, you see $30 million as a signing bonus. Sort of translate this deal for me.
Right, it's paying for, I guess, past performance, but also at the same time, you look at what Seattle has gone through this offseason. Moving on from Russell Wilson, moving on from Bobby Wagner, two of the longest tenured players in that organization on top of being pillars to their Super Bowl championship win not too long ago. So when you go through that sort of change, and then all of a sudden you have this young superstar in DK Metcalf, possibly, leaving, going out the door if his contract isn't going to be situated. Maybe you have to pull what Tennessee did with A.J. Brown and moving on from him because you don't want to get through a deal. There is some sort of morale boost here. If you are somewhat bringing him aboard for the next 3 years, at least you're saying, hey, listen, we're not rolling over. Yes, Geno Smith or Drew Lock might be our quarterback, but at least we have somebody that we can continue to build this offense around. You said it. I mean, you look at all those touchdowns that he's been able to do. He's still a force, a freak athlete. 29 touchdowns since coming into the 2019 draft. He had a career high 12 last year. So again, $30 million, that is the highest at the wide receiver position, guaranteed due at signing. That is the highest we've ever seen before. So not only does this impact the Seattle Seahawks and how they're going to build their future, but now it also impacts the market for wide receivers. DK Metcalf wasn't the only one looking for a new contract. There's a wide receiver in San Francisco within that division in the NFC West that's also looking for a deal that's probably paying attention to this as well.
Yeah, I look and say 3 years isn't that long.
Yep.
But he got his money up front. So Seattle kept him without really having to extend for years and years and years. And DK says, hey, I got $30 million today, right now, the largest signing bonus ever for a wide receiver. You sort of alluded to this, but let me follow up. Is this a good use of resources for Seattle? I am always skeptical when a team makes a move for the fan base or to sell tickets. That is code for it's a bad decision. We're trying to win here. They're in a teardown mode before they build it up. Is this a good use of resources when you know you're going to have to tear it down before you build it up?
Well, if we're talking about tearing it down at some point or another, like if we don't think the Seattle Seahawks are going to be particularly good next year, especially if their quarterback situation stays the same, well, then you have a quality asset now in DK Metcalf that you can move off of. A lot of that money is up front, like you said, $30 million guaranteed due at signing. So all of a sudden, if you are bottoming out and all of a sudden you aren't particularly, strong going forward and you do want to tear it down, we've seen what wide receivers can go for on the market this offseason. I mean, we've seen Devontae Adams go for multiple picks and multiple first-round picks and all of that. So, Metcalf is obviously not in that category, but he's not that far from it. So if you all of a sudden you're kind of in a teardown mode after the 2022 season, well, that's a piece that other teams would be attracted to. And that's the other thing, too. I mean, we don't necessarily know if it's going to be a teardown, too. As much as we referenced Deebo Samuel in San Francisco, there's also a quarterback in San Francisco in Jimmy Garoppolo. He's due a bunch of money at the beginning of this year. If all of a sudden the 49ers cut their losses and physically cut Garoppolo, that's a great situation that one of these quarterbacks can now find themselves in when he has DK Metcalf to throw to and Tyler Lockett to throw to. So whenever these quarterbacks become available, that could also be a selling point to bring in another savior for the franchise to replace Russell Wilson and possibly replace Drew Lock and or Geno Smith.
The only thing I'll say is right now on the board, they are projected to be one of the worst 5 teams in the NFL. I think I would have traded him. I don't think he's going to be the difference between winning 5 games and 9 games at that position and how he plays. I think I would have A.J. Browned him if I were 10. I would have dealt him, and as in this teardown, to build him back up. Tyler Sullivan, excellent perspective as always. Always go read his stuff on CBSSports.com. Thank you very much.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.